Journey to the Dragon Palace. Sun Wukong dove into the water, reciting a water-repelling spell that parted the waves before him. The water curtain cave led directly to the East Sea Dragon Palace, where sunlight filtered through the surface, creating dancing patterns on the seafloor. Schools of colorful fish darted to and fro, while coral reefs displayed their vibrant hues in a spectacular underwater garden. Wukong paused for a moment to admire the oceanic scenery before swimming deeper. After traveling several miles through the waters, he spotted a procession of sea dragons, seahorses, turtles, and crabs carrying various fruits on their backs. Wukong figured these must be offerings for the Dragon King, as no one else in these waters commanded such authority. He followed them for a while until a magnificent palace came into view, its towering entrance bearing 3 grand characters, Crystal Palace. As Wukong approached the main hall, 2 shrimp soldiers wielding steel tridents blocked his path. "Halt! Who goes there?" they demanded. Without a word, Wukong grabbed their tridents and tossed them aside, barging in while shouting, "Hey, neighbor!" The Dragon King, who had been enjoying his wine in the great hall, set down his cup at the commotion. "Who dares intrude?" Wukong bounded forward, plopped himself down on a seat, and clasped his hands in greeting. "Greetings, neighbor. I'm the Monkey King from the Water Curtain Cave on Flower Fruit Mountain, just next door to your place." The Dragon King forced a smile. "What brings such an honored immortal to my humble palace?" "Oh, I just came to borrow a weapon," Wukong replied casually. The Dragon King laughed heartily. "Is that all? General Shrimp, bring him a spear." The Shrimp General heaved over an iron spear. Wukong took it, gave it a slight twist, and the weapon bent like a noodle. You call this a weapon?" he scoffed. The Dragon King's whiskers trembled with anger. "Bring him a sword," he bellowed. The shrimp soldiers lugged over a great sword. Wukong lifted it with one hand, snapped it in half, and tossed the pieces aside. The Dragon King's face turned purple with rage. "Fetch the 9-pronged steel trident, the one weighing 3,600 pounds. For crab commanders struggled to carry the trident forward. Wukong gave it a few experimental swings before discarding it. Still too light. To everyone's surprise, the Dragon King's anger gave way to an amused smile. "If it's weight you want, we have something heavier, though perhaps too heavy. Bring forth the heaven-piercing halberd, the one weighing 7,200 pounds. Soon 8 turtle warriors appeared, grunting under the weight of a massive halberd with a shaft as thick as a man's wrist. Wukong strode over and hefted the halberd with ease, twirling it around as if it were a wig. The great hall filled with flashing light and howling wind as he demonstrated his prowess. After a few spins, he tossed the weapon high into the air, sending its o-ring dozens of feet up. The halberd hung suspended for a moment before plummeting down, causing the Dragon King and his guards to cover their heads in terror. Just before it struck, Wukong casually kicked it aside. "Still too light. Got anything heavier?" The Dragon King could only manage a bitter smile. "Your powers are truly boundless, honored immortal. We have nothing heavier." Wukong crossed his arms and smirked. "I refuse to believe that in this vast East Sea Palace you can't find a single weapon worthy of my strength." The turtle minister, who had been watching from the side, drew close to the Dragon King and whispered, "Your Majesty, what about the divine iron that stabilizes the seas? Let him try that, he'll never be able to lift it. We can't let him think so little of us." The Dragon King's eyes lit up. "Ah yes, please follow me, honored guest." He led Wukong deep beneath the sea floor. "Where's this treasure of yours?" Wukong asked. The Dragon King pointed to a moss-covered pillar. "This is it." "You're not trying to fool me, are you, old dragon?" Wukong asked skeptically. The Dragon King chuckled. "This is a divine iron left by you the Great when he tamed the floods. It's also known as the needle that stabilizes the seas. If you can lift it, it's yours." Wukong examined the pillar closely. It was as thick as a man's waist and nearly 80 feet tall. Suddenly, as if responding to his presence, the pillar began to shake violently, shedding its covering of mud and stone to reveal a gleaming golden staff that radiated countless beams of light. Wukong's eyes lit up with joy. He leapt forward and embraced the divine weapon. On its surface, he noticed an inscription in golden characters: "The As-you-will gold-banded staff, weight 13,500 pounds. The staff was golden at both ends and bright red in the middle. The more Wukong admired it, the more he loved it, though he had one small criticism: it's perfect, except it's a bit too thick and long. If only it could be shorter and thinner." No sooner had he spoken than the staff responded with a golden flash, shrinking both in length and girth. Both Wukong and the Dragon King watched in amazement. Wukong immediately understood its magic and hugged the staff affectionately. What a wonderful treasure, a bit shorter and thinner still. The staff obliged once more. After a few more adjustments, Wukong gripped the staff and pulled it came free effortlessly. He commanded it to shrink further until it was just the thickness of his wrist and as tall as himself, the perfect size for wielding. Wukong began spinning the staff, causing the entire dragon palace to shake violently. Seeing Wukong's intense attachment to the weapon, the Dragon King exclaimed in both fear and anger, "That's my treasure that keeps the sea stable, you can't take it." "Didn't you say if I could lift it, it would be mine?" Wukong retorted. "Are you going back on your word?" The Dragon King was struck speechless with rage. Wukong recited an incantation that transformed the staff into a tiny needle, which he tucked behind his ear. He then dragged the Dragon King back to the main hall and said, "Many thanks for this fine weapon. But now that I have a weapon, I still need armor. Since I'm already here, why not provide that too?" The Dragon King's face fell. "We don't have any. Were you trying to fool?" Wukong plopped down again. "If you don't give me what I want, I'm not leaving." Left with no choice, the Dragon King said, "Please calm down, honored immortal. While I don't have any armor here, my brothers might. Please wait while I summon them." He ordered his servants to strike an iron drum and a golden bell, whose sound carried for 1,000 miles. Soon the Dragon Kings of the South Cao Kin, North Cao Shan, and West Cao Run arrived, asking their eldest brother, "What's the emergency?" Hao Guang turned to Wukong. "Please wait a moment, honored immortal." Wukong waved dismissively. "Go ahead." Taking his brothers aside, Hao Guang whispered, "A powerful monkey has arrived today. He's already taken my divine iron that stabilizes the seas, and now he's demanding armor. I have none to give him, so I've called you here for help." The North Sea Dragon King suggested, "Brother, let's not waste words with this monkey. We should attack together and tear him to pieces." Hao Guang grimaced. "You don't understand his as-you-will staff kills with a touch. Who dares approach him?" The West Sea Dragon King had an idea. "Brother, why don't we give him the armor first, then report him to the Jade Emperor?" "Excellent idea," Hao Guang exclaimed. The North Sea Dragon King added, "I have a pair of cloud-walking lotus root fiber boots." The West Sea Dragon King offered, "I have a golden chainmail armor." The South Sea Dragon King contributed, "And I have a phoenix feather crown of purple gold." Overjoyed, Hao Guang said, "Thank you, brothers." They replied, "No need for thanks. We'll send for them right away," and return to their respective palaces. Soon the magical items arrived: the cloud-walking boots from the North Sea, the golden chainmail from the West Sea, and the phoenix feather crown from the South Sea. They were presented to Wukong on jade platters. Delighted, Wukong donned his new attire, thanked the Dragon Kings, and departed for his water-curtained cave on Flower Fruit Mountain. When Wukong landed on the mountain, all the monkeys gathered to pay their respects. A young monkey touched his armor and exclaimed, "Great King, your armor is beautiful." An elder monkey asked, "Great King, where's the weapon you borrowed?" Wukong pulled the golden staff from behind his ear, and the monkeys crowded around to look. Some asked, "Is that just a sewing needle?" Wukong waved them back. "Stand clear, children." He planted the staff in the ground and commanded, "Grow." The staff shot upward like bamboo in spring rain, stretching until it touched the clouds. The monkeys cheered in amazement. What a magnificent treasure! The commotion attracted the attention of the wolves, tigers, leopards, and the demons from the 72 caves, who all came to pay homage to Wukong. From his monkey troops, Wukong selected for brave and capable horse-monkey generals to train his army. Meanwhile, he spent his days cloud surfing across the 4 seas, seeking knowledge and making friends. He befriended 6 powerful demon kings: the Bull Demon King, the Dragon Demon King, the Rock Demon King, the Lion Camel King, the Macaque King, and the Wild Boar King. Wukong spent his days drinking, feasting, and practicing martial arts with his Demon King friends. One day, the Wild Boar King suggested, "Since we're all in such high spirits today, why don't we become sworn brothers? We can share both fortune and misfortune." Everyone agreed enthusiastically, and they arranged themselves by age, with the Bull Demon King as the eldest brother and Wukong as the youngest. The Bull Demon King raised his wine cup and declared, "Today is truly a joyous occasion. We 7 have found kindred spirits and become sworn brothers. And our brother Wukong is not only incredibly powerful but also handsome in appearance, truly worthy of the title Handsome Monkey King." Handsome Monkey King, what a perfect name! The Demon Kings all raised their cups to toast Wukong. Wukong lifted his cup and laughed. "Very well, from now on that's who I'll be." They celebrated late into the night, drinking and laughing together. One day, while Wukong was taking an afternoon nap, 2 spirits of death, one in white and one in black, appeared with an iron chain. They slipped it around his neck, and in his drowsy state Wukong followed them. After walking a few miles, they arrived at a city. Looking up, Wukong saw 3 characters on the gate: Kingdom of the Dead. Wukong thought to himself, "Isn't this King Yama's underworld? How did I end up here?" He stopped and asked, "Why have you brought me here?" The spirits of death grinned and replied, "Isn't it obvious? Your time is up, and King Yama sent us to fetch you." "Nonsense!" Wukong roared in anger. "I've achieved immortality and transcended the 3 realms. I'm no longer bound by the 5 elements. What right do you have to arrest me?" The spirits insisted, "We don't know about all that. You have to take it up with King Yama yourself." Enraged, Wukong snapped the iron chain, seized the spirits' crying rods, and gave them such a beating that they fled in terror. Wielding his golden staff, Wukong stormed into the city of the dead, sending ox-headed demons, horse-faced spirits, and lesser ghosts scrambling in panic. A terrified ghost rushed to King Yama's court, stammering, "Why, your majesty, terrible news." King Yama glanced at him. "What's all this commotion about?" The ghost replied, "Disaster has struck. A monkey with a thunder god's face and a gibbon's jaws is wreaking havoc." Just then Wukong burst into the court, resplendent in his golden armor and brandishing his staff. Several demon generals rushed at him but were quickly knocked to the ground by Wukong's staff. Seeing he was outmatched, King Yama hastily put on a conciliatory smile. "Please calm down, great immortal." With one hand on his hip, Wukong demanded, "Why did you try to arrest me?" King Yama, trembling with fear, quickly replied, "There must have been some mistake." "I mistake? I don't believe you," Wukong barked. "Show me the Book of Life and Death." King Yama didn't dare refuse. He signaled to his judge, who hurriedly brought for several volumes of the book. King Yama offered his throne, saying, "Please, great immortal, sit and examine them at your leisure." Wukong snorted and sat down on the throne, beginning to flip through the books. The volumes were labeled Insect Division, Bird Division, Fish Division, and so on. Opening the Primate Division, he found the Monkey section and saw the entry, "Stone Monkey of Flower Fruit Mountain, lifespan 30 years. Furious, Wukong shouted, "I've already achieved immortality. How dare you still try to control my life and death? Bring me a brush." King Yama had no choice but to order his judge to provide ink and brush. Wukong wet the brush with his tongue, gripped it firmly, and with one stroke erased his own name. But his anger wasn't satisfied. In a burst of inspiration, he dipped the brush deeply in ink and proceeded to erase every monkey's name from the Book of Life and Death. Still not content, He hurled the book to the ground and laughed triumphantly. Now that's more like it. That he fought his way out of the netherworld. As Wukong was leaving the city of the dead, he tripped and suddenly woke up, realizing it had all been a dream. Opening his eyes, he found himself surrounded by concerned monkeys. Seeing him awake, they jumped for joy. The great king is awake. The great king is awake. What's all this about? Wukong asked. A horse monkey general approached and said, Great king, you've finally awakened. You slept for a day and a night. We were terrified that you had. That I had died. Wukong laughed. Let me tell you something. The spirits of death did try to take me. But I fought my way to King Yama's palace and made him submit. I even erased all our names from the book of life and death. From now on, none of you need fear death. Hooray, we'll never die. The monkeys celebrated ecstatically. When Wukong's 6 sworn brothers heard the news, they all came bearing gifts to celebrate with wine. The next day, the Jade Emperor was holding court in his celestial palace. Looking around at his ministers, he announced, If any of you have matters to report, speak now. The East Dragon King stepped forward and kowtowed. Your Majesty, I have a complaint. What troubles you, Dragon King? Iob Wang knocked his head on the ground and said, Your Majesty, a demon monkey has wreaked havoc in my palace and stolen my divine iron that stabilizes the seas. I beg your Majesty to uphold justice. The Jade Emperor stroked his beard thoughtfully. King Yama also stepped forward and knelt, saying, Your Majesty, yesterday that same monkey disturbed my realm, injured my guards, and erased all monkey names from the book of life and death. The Jade Emperor frowned. This monkey seems quite powerful. What's his background? The 1,000-mile lion fair windeer deities came forward and knelt, explaining, Your Majesty, this monkey was originally a stone on Flower Fruit Mountain near the Water Curtain Cave. After absorbing the essence of the sun and moon, he transformed into a stone monkey named Sun Wukong. He somehow acquired great magical powers and can truly subdue dragons, tigers. The pagoda-bearing heavenly king stepped forward and suggested, Your Majesty, this monkey is monkeys too brazen. If we don't punish him severely, others might follow his example. The Jade Emperor nodded. You speak wisely. But then the golden star of Venus, waving his feather fan, smiled and said, Your Majesty, this monkey hasn't yet reached his full potential. In my humble opinion, why not issue an imperial edict to summon him to heaven and grant him a minor position? This way, should he misbehave, we can easily capture him without deploying troops. The pagoda-bearing heavenly king objected. This monkey is already so arrogant. If we don't punish him severely, others will surely follow his example. The Jade Emperor declared, Enough debate. The Golden Star's suggestion is superior. Golden Star, I hereby appoint you as my imperial envoy to deliver the edict and recruit this monkey. The Golden Star accepted the mission. I receive your command with gratitude. Then, taking the Emperor's personal edict, he rode a cloud toward Flower Fruit Mountain. A monkey sentry spotted the Golden Star and rushed to report to Wukong, Great King, an old man has descended from heaven. Bring him to me, Wukong ordered. The monkeys escorted the Golden Star to Wukong's presence. Who are you? What do you want? Wukong demanded. The Golden Star straightened his robes and replied, I am the Golden Star of Venus, an envoy from the Jade Emperor. His Majesty has sent me to invite you to heaven. To heaven? What for? Wukong asked. To become an official, the Golden Star answered. Heaven. What's so special about that? I have everything I need right here on Flower Fruit Mountain, Wukong said, munching on fruit. The Golden Star smiled. True, Flower Fruit Mountain is beautiful with its green hills and clear waters. But compared to heaven, it's nothing. Wukong asked, What's heaven like? The Golden Star replied leisurely, In heaven, the flowers bloom eternally through all 4 seasons, and the fruit never runs out all year round. Stars from the Milky Way and rainbows serve as bridges. The scenery is beyond description. With your great abilities, wouldn't it be a shame not to see it for yourself? Wukong's eyes wide. Is it really that wonderful? Of course it is, the golden star assured him. Now interested, Wukong declared, well, if it's really that amazing, I might just have to check it out. The little monkey started shouting, Great King, take us to. All right, Wukong agreed, let me go up first and see. If it's really as good as he says, I'll come back for all of you. Hooray, hooray, the little monkeys jumped and cheered. With one somersault, Wukong leapt beyond the sky. The golden star was still telling the little monkeys, be good and watch over your home. Wait for your great king to return and take you all. He turned around to find Wukong gone and asked, where's your great king? Our great king has already traveled tens of thousands of miles. You'd better hurry and catch up. The golden star quickly mounted his auspicious cloud and chased after Wukong, calling out, wait,